already broadcasting on Facebook. Hare Krishna, Dilip Bhai Patel Prabhu and Hemlata Mataji and Vidyavadu Devi Mataji. And the pranams. And I don't know what happened to Varshana Mataji today. Maybe Vidyavadu knows. Okay, so let's get started here with a short prayer to the spiritual master. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome, dear devotees, to our Tuesday evening class on Bhagavad Gita. And Namazya Mataji has got a beautiful picture there.
Varshana Mataji is here.
Varshana
Krishna Mataji. Sorry, Mataji, I got late.
I was just wondering what happened to you, and I was asking Vidyavadu on Facebook what happened. Okay, so let's get going here. Am I sharing my screen? No, not yet. Okay, and who goes in first? We know. Who's going to read?
17. Our glory to Srila Prabhupada. Text 1, the divisions of faith. Arjuna inquired, O Krishna, what is the situation of those who do not follow the principles of scriptures but worship according to their own imagination? Are they in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance? Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, according to the modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of three kinds, in goodness, in passion, or in ignorance. Now hear about this.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Text 3. O son of Bharata, according to one's existence under the various modes of nature, one evolves a particular kind of faith. The living being is said to be of a particular faith according to the modes he has acquired. Text 4. Men in the mode of goodness worship the demigods. Those in the mode of passion worship the demons, and those in the mode of ignorance worship ghosts and spirits. Shukumar Radhe Mataji.
Thank you. Text 5 and 6. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Text 7. Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them. Sadhana Mataji.
State. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Text 9. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause distress, misery, and disease.
Hare Krishna. Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in mode of darkness. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. Archana Mataji.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Text 12, but the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of passion. Text 13, any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of scripture, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of Vedic hymns and remunerations to the priests, and without faith is considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Namazya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, text 14. Austerity of the body consists in the worship of Supreme Lord. The Brahmanas, the spiritual master and superior like the father and mother, in the cleanliness, simplicity, celibacy, and non-violence. Test 15. Austerity of speech consistent in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and not agitating to others. And also in the regularly reciting Vedic literature. Sukha Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, text 16. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind. This threefold austerity performed, text 17, this threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits, but engaged only for the sake of the Supreme is, Madhaji, can you please scroll up? Sake of Supreme is called austerity and goodness.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Text 18. Penance performed out of pride and for the sake of gaining respect, honor, and worship is said to be in the mode of passion. It is neither stable nor permanent. Text 19. Penance performed out of foolishness with the self-torture or to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Hare Krishna. Meera Mataji.
Text 21.
20.
But charity performed with the
20.
20. I'm sorry. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to the worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Text 21. But charity performed with the expectation of some return or with the desire of fruitive results or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Hare Krishna. Aruni Mataji.
Are we in a position to read?
She said she can't read.
Yeah, sorry, I can't read today. My throat's not good.
Yeah, no problem. Take care, Mataji. Garima Mataji or Astha Mataji? Sorry, I
Asta
can read.
Mataji also can't read.
Okay.
I will read after some time.
Okay, okay, no problem. So I will read 22nd. And charity performed at an impure place at an improper time to unworthy persons or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Text 23. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Hare Krishna, Vindhyavali.
Text 24. Therefore, transcendental is undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity, and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations, being always with Om to attain the Supreme. Text 25. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. Hare Krishna Sutapa Mataji.
Thank you. Text 26-27. The absolute truth is the objective of devotional service, sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. The performer of such sacrifice, also called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Pritha. Text 28. Anything done as sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme, O Son of Pritha, is impermanent. It is called Ashat and is useless both in this life and the next. Hari Bol.
Okay, so let's go to the verse of today. Now, before we go there, actually, I have a small request of all of you. And that is that 4 years ago, our dear Meera Mataji's husband, whose name is Farooq Hussain, and he also was known as Sydney Jamna Das, and that's why she goes by the name Meera Jamna Das. So he passed away 4 years ago on March 3rd. So it's not March 3rd yet, but in some parts of the world it is. If we ask, if we ask Varshana Mataji what date it is, she'll say March 3rd. So since we're not going to meet tomorrow, it being a Wednesday, so I just thought that we could all do a small prayer for his soul. And so how about chanting 11 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all together? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dear Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Shivas, Gadadhar, dear Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani, dear Lord Nrsimhadev and Lakshmi, please take care of Farooq Hussain Prabhu's soul, who left this planet 4 years ago. Please grant peace and devotional service to his soul, as well as peace and devotional service to our Meera Mataji and the rest of the members of his family. Thank you so much for considering my request. And is it okay? Is Meera Mataji in a position to read? Is it okay if I ask her to read because in memory of her husband? Is it okay?
Yes, definitely.
All right, Meera Mataji. So I'm going to bring up text number 7, which is the text for today. And if you can read the Sanskrit for us.
You're not sharing.
So Meera Mataji had a Meera Mataji had an adventurous day today. She had to call 911.
Yes, I just came back. My car was towed back home.
Wow. Well, is that your mom? That's your mom?
Sorry?
Is that your mother at the back?
Yes, that's my mother at the back, yes.
So good to see you. Yeah. Wow, but no damage to the car, right?
No.
No. Just that experience is horrible to have the car stall in the way and then wait. Oh my God. Okay, so you want to go ahead?
Okay. I don't see anything.
You won't see it because I'm not yet sharing it. Here you go.
Aharastvapi api sarvasya trividho bhavati priyaha yajnastapastadhanam te sambhedam imam shrunu.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
Okay. Who's going to give us the synonyms?
I think it's me.
Okay.
Ahara, eating, to certainly, api also, sarvasya of everyone, trividaha of three kinds, bhavati there is, priyaha dear, yagnaha sacrifice, tapa austerity, tatha also, danam charity, tesham of them, Vedam, the differences, imam, this, shrunu, here.
All right. So what's
Sad.
the Sanskrit for eating?
Ahara.
Aharaha. Very nice. And what's the Sanskrit for hearing?
Trinu.
Trinu. Right. And what's the Sanskrit for austerity?
Tapaha.
If somebody is very clear, very dear to me, what will I say?
Priyaha.
If I want to,
Priyaha.
if I want to give charity,
Danam.
Danam.
and then if I want to give danam to everyone, what will I say?
Sarvasya danam.
Sarvasya.
Danam.
Sarvasya, right. And if somebody is doing austerity, what is he doing in Sanskrit?
Tapa.
Tapaha.
Tapaha.
All right. And if he's doing three kinds of tapaha, what will that be?
Trividaha.
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 Very good. Okay. So let's go and do the translation. Who's next?
I am.
Alrighty.
Even the food each person prefers is of three kinds, according to the three modes of material nature. The same is true of sacrifices, austerities, and charity. Now hear of the distinctions between them.
In terms of different situations in the modes of material nature, there are differences in the manner of eating and performing sacrifices, austerities, and charities. They are not conducted on the same. They are not conducted on the same level. Those who can understand analytically what kind of performances are in what modes of material nature are actually wise. Those who consider all kind of sacrifice or food or charity to be the same cannot discriminate, and they're foolish. There are missionary workers who advocate that one can do whatever he likes and attain perfection. But these foolish guides are not acting according to the direction of the scripture. They are manufacturing ways and misleading the people in general. Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Reflection time.
Yeah, I would just say the gunas are everywhere, right? The three modes of nature are in just about everything.
It's the mode. So everything will be affected by that.
There's a lot of people would think that giving charity is always in a mode of goodness, but it itself is divided. The austerity, sacrifices, a lot of people kind of put those as equated to goodness. They're not. So a lot of thought, and it says in here, it says it has to be analytical study, which to understand it, you have to use some analysis, right?
Right. And the saving grace and the good news actually is that these are modes of material nature. Of material nature. So things that are material will have these modes. But who are we? Are we material? Archana, are you material or spiritual?
No, Mataji. We are spiritual beings.
You are spiritual being, right? So this means that these modes of material nature should not act on you. But however, what happens is that because we are ensconced in this material body, and because of false ego that we think that we are this material body, the modes of material nature, they start to act upon us. Okay? So here they are talking about that material nature things are, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Right? So, but the soul is actually spiritual and should not get affected by that. But because of association, and there's a very interesting verse in Bhagavad Gita, and I'm just going to bring that. It's from the 13th chapter where we also talk about a little bit about the body, and then of course totally dedicated towards more spiritual nature. So whose turn is it to read?
My turn, Mataji.
All right, take it away.
Purusha prakrtistho hi bhunte prakriti jan gunan karanam guna sangosya sad asad yoni janmasu.
Very nice. And Ramasya?
Okay. Puru Saha, the living entity. Prakriti Saha, being situated in the material energy. He certainly Bun enjoys Prakritihan, produced by the material nature. Gunan, the moods of nature. Karanam, the cause. Guna Sangaha, the association with the moods of nature. Asya, of the living entity. Sat Asat, in the good and bad. Joni, the species of life. Janmasu, in birds. Hare Krishna.
The living and translation. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil among various species. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. This verse is very important for an understanding of how the living entities transmigrate from the one body to another. It is explained in the second chapter that the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another just as one changes the dress. This change of dress is due to his attachment to material existence. As long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, he has to continue transmigrating from the one body to another. Due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. Under the influence of material desire, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a beast, or sometimes as a bird, as a just scroll it up, Mataji. As a worm, as an aquatic, as a saintly man, as a bug. This is going on. And in all cases, the living entity thinks himself to be the master of circumstances. Yet he is under the influence of material nature. Hare Krishna, Meera Mataji.
Should I read again or?
Continue reading, doesn't matter.
Okay. How he is put into such different bodies is explained here. It is due to association with the different modes of nature. One has to rise, therefore, above the three material modes and become situated in the transcendental position. That is called Krishna consciousness. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change can be affected only by hearing from authoritative sources. The best example is here. Arjuna is hearing the signs of God from Krishna, the living entity. If he submits to his hearing process, he will lose his long cherished desire to dominate material nature, and gradually and proportionately, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. In a Vedic mantra, it is said that as he becomes learned, and in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he proportionately relishes the eternal blissful life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Right, so more on the mode of material nature, and especially in this particular chapter where we are talking about the various reasons of faith, and as Sadhana Mataji commented, everything gets affected by the modes of material nature, right? And then it will be a combination. So, what do you think makes a person be in the mode of goodness or in any of the other modes? What do you think would be some of the factors that will lead to a person being?
Hare Krishna Mataji, modes of material nature influences the nature of the person. So, in his mindset also. So accordingly, like if his mind is pure, then he will prefer to have purer foods, which is in the sattvic mode of goodness. And if he's in mode of passion, then he'll have that bitter, pungent foods that are in the modes of passion. So I feel, Mataji, modes of material nature, it influences your mind, and mind will in turn influence your body. I mean, like whatever you feel like if you are in which mode, like if you're in mode of goodness, so you'll have purer foods. I mean, sattvic foods. And if you want to be in the transcendental mode, then you should offer this pure sattvic mode foods to the Lord, and then you can rise above these three modes.
Right, good. But what makes a person, why is it that the modes of material nature, so there are all kinds of modes, right? At least three that we know of. And so why is it that one mode affects one person and another person gets affected by another mode? Why are people in different modes? What could be some of the factors that lead a person to be in a particular mode?
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Who are the two people who try to speak? One is Varshana and one is who?
It's me, Mataji.
Go ahead. I heard you first.
Is Sanskara from previous life, previous births.
Right. Very good. And samskaras are coming. So those are things, and like as Archana was saying, that the mind will go there. So the question is, why does the mind go there? Right? Why does the mind get influenced? Why does the mind think about that I should have sattvic food? It is coming from the previous samskaras, the things that are etched in our head, in our psyche. And sometimes, of course, external things will affect you, but also the desire of the soul will also influence that. Your karmic reactions will also influence that, right? And then, of course, not to forget what this chapter is talking about, right? This chapter is talking about, like you mentioned, that there is food, right? So the kind of food that you're going to eat is going to affect what's going to happen to you. Not only that, what do you think about association? Do you think association will have an effect?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yes, I was thinking association circumstances and the place also affects the man to be in that kind of mode. Because if a person is in a place like, you see, where only fish is available, and he finds it difficult to, you see, find another food. And then he can get tempted to have that. Then he can be, you see, association can tell him, come on, have this. Now that we are not getting something, so might as well have something. So it can affect the person.
It can affect that. Very good. And what verse from, there's a verse from Bhagavad Gita we read about a couple of months ago on what can we do. And Krishna gave an example of an animal. You remember? Does anybody remember? About that there'll be temptations all around us. And what are we supposed to do when there are temptations?
Tortoise. We have to.
For 6,000 points. Yes. And what was it about tortoise?
It controls your shell when you see.
So the tortoise goes into a cell. Similarly, what are we supposed to do?
Control our senses.
The senses.
Controlling
the senses.
That doesn't talk about control. That verse doesn't talk about control. There's a
You need to withdraw your senses, Mataji.
I was looking for that word. You have to withdraw your senses, right? So that verse talks about that, just like a tortoise, you should learn how to withdraw your senses, right? However, in the next verse, it says that, even after you try to withdraw the senses, the desire will still be there, right? And then Krishna gave the solution. He said, you replace your base desires by higher desires. Vishaya vinivartante niraharati. Right? So that is what, okay. So there will be influences coming at us from outside, but we have to, so association, Varsha Mataji very rightly pointed out, does have an effect on us, right? What about the culture? Does that have an effect?
Yes, culture also.
Yes or no?
Have effect.
Culture will have an effect. So give me an example.
It does affect.
It does affect.
Tell me how a culture will affect. Give me some examples. Let's take some examples. Okay? You're right.
How to tell?
If you are raised in a family like Mataji, if you are raised in a family or association where drinking, womanizing, these things are prevalent, right? So you are raised in that type of culture. Similarly, opposite type of culture, like if you are raised in a devotee family where always, Gita Bhagavatam discussion, those kind of things are going on. So that influences your way of thinking or your mind, right? So that has impact.
Right. What about the kind of books that you read?
Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita.
Vedic scriptures.
Spiritual books.
Spiritual books, you
Can
can
other
say.
kinds of books have an effect on you?
Yeah, it has effects on.
It has.
Can you give some examples of how books affected? And they did. Book or anything. Yeah, Varshana Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, scriptures have changed my life altogether. You see, what I used to think before 10 years ago and what I am today, I can see the distinction between the two different human beings altogether. You see, I used to take things very casually and lightly. Okay, it's only like hardly matters. I'll cook it and give it to him and have myself also. So you see now, I'm conscious of it that no, it is not to be eaten. There is a soul inside there, and the meat has come from somewhere. And then even Mataji, watching the television, I've stopped. I now don't even know how to operate the television.
Srila Prabhupada's books, right? So book has an impact. Like when we do book distributions, all the Westerners people you see, like they became Krishna conscious through books only, right? Prabhupada's disciple and the people who are
now, getting inclined towards this knowledge. It's all from books. I mean, we are distributing books and people are just, getting interested, coming, they want to know about this knowledge. So yeah, it has a huge impact.
Yeah. And then, and yes, I mean, of course, nothing to beat Srila Prabhupada and his book and the impact of the books, but then books have also been instrumental in bringing about revolutions, right? We know about Fidel de Castro, right? He was in the jail, and his girlfriend used to come and meet him, and he used to write messages using lemon juice. And so when you write with lemon juice, it's not visible on a white sheet of paper, and his girlfriend used to take it away. But then when you heat that paper, then the lemon juice turns brown and the writing comes forward, right? And through that, he was able to bring in a revolution. And Rajendra Prabhu talks about that once when he was doing book distribution, I think it was in China. And so they were there in a marketplace and they had a cart where they had all push cart kind of thing where they had all the books. And he said that no sooner, as soon as the books came out, that all the people kind of like grabbed at the books. They were so starved for literature. And then there was a tug of war between two people, and the book tore apart into two pieces, and each one of them went with their half. And then they were just like, walking in the marketplace and they were just reading. So books definitely have.
Yes.
Music will have an effect on you. There can be passionate music. There can be, music that is very soothing on you. So all these things are going to have an effect. And so many times we have come, at least I have come across that suppose it's the due date for an exam, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, or any, BSc, MSc, BCom, any exam is there. And then so exams are due, and this is a weekend and we have not studied up until now, and now it's like, okay, right now these 2 days I'm going to sit down and I'm going to study. And then you have a heavy lunch, and then you go to the other room, and then you sit in a rocking chair and you take
Deep.
That's it. Very soon you have gone into the mode of ignorance. But if you're leading a sattvic lifestyle, then you will know that I'm not supposed to overeat. So then, so the food that you eat will have an effect on it. So right. So these modes of material nature, they will have an effect on you, and the actions that you ultimately will have will be coming from what are the other things that are going on otherwise, right? So also, sometimes people will come to a living room where everybody's there, TV is blaring, kids are playing, and you're saying, I'm going to the atmosphere, ambience. So the actions that you take, right? The actions that you take, they definitely depend on and the kind of moods that are around you and the kind of moods that are dominant will okay. So so the kind of ambience that you have and what's going on around you will determine the kind of response that you're going to give, right? So you go and sit in a living room and you say, I'm now going to study over here. Then you very soon that your eyes will be glued over the television, or you'll turn around to somebody else and talk, right? So gone into the mode of passion or maybe ignorance, depending on what you're discussing there. Okay. Now also your thought processes, the way a person thinks. The way a person thinks also depends on the modes, and as Ajna Mataji was pointing out in the beginning. Right? And people in different influence to a larger degree by the different modes of nature. Like one is in the mode of goodness, one is in the mode of passion, one is in the mode of ignorance. They can all be looking at the same object, but their thought processes can be different. Okay. So can you think of some example? And Bashana Mataji, do you have an example? I see your hand raised there.
I raised my hand for something else. That after reading the Shastras, you see, I can distinguish between good, bad, and the best. You see, the ignorance. What is in ignorance? What is in goodness? What is in passion? I can distinguish between them and decide. My intelligence tell me decides to what to do and what not to do. That you see has helped me.
Yes. Yes. An intelligence that has woken up. Right?
Woken up, right.
Woken up is able to discriminate between good and the bad.
Yes.
Right? Otherwise, we are like a bull. You put anything in front of the bull, he eats it. But we have to be like the chatak bird. The chatak bird doesn't even drink any water. It'll only drink the first raindrop that comes. So similarly, we also have to be very careful of what we are imbibing from the environment around us. So I was asking that, can you give me some example of how I just bring in one object, any object in front of you, and then different people in different modes of nature can look at that object and their thoughts will be very different.
Yes, Mataji. Like you see, I had given the example before also. You see, when I cut vegetables, so you see, I have a knife in front of me. If the knife is in front of different people, they will think of knife using in different manner. You see, a person who wants to cut fruit for the Lord, he is thinking of Lord, and you see, using it for cutting the vegetables and fruits for the Lord, for cooking the prasadam, the bhoga. And another person thinks that how will I use the knife to harm somebody? And the third person can think how to kill the animal with that. You see, every person has a different thought process by looking at the knife itself, Mataji. So it's a very small thing, but...
Yeah, very good. Now let's take the knife and then now let's see the three modes. What will people in the three modes do with the knife?
In goodness, they will, you see, cut fruits for the Lord, for the bhoga.
And is that goodness?
And that is pure goodness, Mataji.
That's pure. That pure goodness is transcendental. Yeah.
Transcendental.
Yeah. So what is goodness? Knife, using the knife in goodness.
Goodness, like you say, cutting the vegetables for your own family members and doing it, using it. And then you say cutting meat and chicken with the same knife, you see, that is mode of ignorance. And same passion also, Mataji, because it is going to give the satisfaction.
What is more use of knife in the passion? How would you use a knife in the mode of passion? Vinyavali Mataji, are you trying to say something?
Yeah, I'm about to say.
What is passion? What does passion donate?
There is a desire. When you have a desire, that is a passion. And to desire desire to have, you see, mutton and chicken and the taste, this tongue, you see, you want to satisfy your tongue and you're using that knife to cut the chicken and mutton. So that is passion. And the same way, Hare Krishna.
Chicken and mutton will take it to passion? If you're cutting chicken.
Because it is giving you satisfaction.
Chicken and cutting chicken is passion?
That is ignorance, Mataji. Mataji, so you can use the knife, let's say, if you are passionate about carving something, right? That is your, so you can use that knife to carve a furniture or something like that, right? So that way you can use the knife in a passionate way.
Even for business, right? Someone uses for their business, like if they have.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, you can have a business and you can use knives to cut things also, in a business way. So there's a lot of passion, the ugra karma, a lot of activity, is there. And then goodness will be you're using the knife, you're cutting it nicely, slowly, and maybe you want to give it in charity,
Charity or offering.
Like that. When you bring in the God element, then it becomes a transcendental. it becomes a transcendental place, object, right? Like that. And then, so people who are in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of passion, or in the mode of goodness, you know, they will also react differently in different situations in life, right? So let's take a situation that you are in the kitchen and there's a fire. So how do you think the three people in the three modes will react?
Fire, you said?
Mm-hmm.
What did you say, Mother?
Fire, fire.
Fire.
So someone in the mode of goodness will try to take all the family members out and see that they get out safely.
And what is that mode?
Goodness. Try to save everyone possible in the house.
All right, more thoughts, more modes of material nature.
Someone with ignorance, Mataji, will react to the fire like in an aggressive way, like, you know, shouting, screaming, blaspheme mother, whoever is near near him or her, you know, he may react like that, you know.
More thoughts?
Grabbing all the valuable things and then getting out.
What mode is that?
That will be passion.
Running. Passion, lot of activity, right?
Jewelry, money, clothes, everything. Running out.
Right? So that is passion.
Passion.
Usually passion means lot of activity. Now also remember, these modes can overlap and they can get mingled. So there can be a lot of activity, but then there is and so a person in the mode of passion will try to run towards the door. So they'll be running. And then so there is pure passion, which is that you're just running, but then passion gets mixed with a little goodness. So you say, let me take my cat also. Right? Let me take my mom, like that. So the modes also get mixed over there. The mode of ignorance is indolence. They don't do anything. The mode of ignorance sees the fire, will shriek and then freeze. Won't do anything, like that. Those who are on the mode of goodness, they stay calm. There's a fire, they will stay calm. Even in that situation, they'll stay calm, and they'll say, where did I keep the fire extinguisher? It's a fire. I've got a fire extinguisher. Let me get some water. And they won't rush and dash and do things like that. They will go very slowly. And you will see a lot of these kind of behaviors even in people. For example, you are on the phone talking to somebody, right? And then the other phone also starts to ring. Or you're talking on the phone to somebody and the doorbell rings. What do you do?
Well, nowadays cell phones are there. Hold the phone and go to the door.
What mode is that? What mode is that? And then what?
Mataji, we can tell the person to hold the line. I'll just go and check who is at the door.
There you go. That's mode of goodness. Right?
What about my mode?
Passion. Yours
won't
is
even
passion.
mute the phone. Mode of passion won't even mute the phone. Will start walking towards the door and then start shouting and saying, coming, coming, coming. And this person is also hearing, that person is also hearing. And then you open the door suddenly, and now you have this phone, and then you're talking to this guy and you're gesturing to that person to come inside. That's the mode.
Passion.
Mode of ignorance will just ignore the knock. Modes of material nature, they have their effect, but remember is that we raise ourselves from this level and go to a higher level, which is satyam yat darshanam. right? And that is that we have to go beyond the mode of material nature into the transcendental plane. Right? So these modes will always be there around us, and they will have their effect on us, and then senses will get drawn to that. As and we said that one of the ways that we should do is to withdraw our senses, because our senses can kill us, right? And we had a very nice verse we did a month or so ago. We talked about the senses and how some people got killed because of succumbing to the senses. Does anybody remember that shloka we did? No? All right, I'm going to bring it up here. And when you see this, you will squeal with delight because you all had liked it so much at that time. So let me just bring it up here for you, sharing the screen. Whose turn is it to read now? To read
Mataji.
Who? Kathy Mataji?
Kathy.
Kathy,
Yeah, Mataji has joined. So she, and I think I see Garima Mataji also walking outside. So Barsha Mataji, if any of you would like to read.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, I can read.
Okay, so, okay, what okay, so I'm just going to start sharing that with you here. Just give me a second. Let me add you also to the reading order. So, Kathy, okay, Kathy, you're taking care of that. I'll leave it and let's go and start sharing. All right, give it to us.
Oh yeah, Karunga Matanga Patanga. Yeah.
I told you would remember that.
We remember that.
Karunga Matanga Patanga Bhiringa Meena Hata Pancha Bhireva Pancha Eka Pramadisa Katham Nahanyate Ya Sevate Pancha Bhieva Pancha. Khyati Mataji.
Shruti Priya Mataji said she can read, so go ahead, Shruti Priya Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Turanga, the deer, by the urges of ears. Matanga, the elephant, by the urges of genitals. Patanga, the moth, by the urges of the eyes. Bringa, the bee, by the urge of nose to smell wildflowers. Meena, the fish, driven by the urge of tongue. All meet their end in pursuit of their futile attempts to satisfy one's sense. Just see attachment to just one sense costs someone greatly. What about a person who has 5 powerful sense organs?
Isn't it? All 5 of us
Yeah.
are all 5 of them are very right. So that is why we say Sharira Vidya Jal Jodindriya Tahikal. Jodindriya. We have we have senses inside it. And so instead of indulging our senses in the material, we should actually go and, because we have got the human body, we should just, turn and put our attentions towards the Lord and not trying to doing things here and there, right? So there's a very nice verse. Again, going to the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam to conclude today's session here. Teaching from Shraddha-devi to his sons, and we'll just take it here. 551, and this goes to who?
My turn, Mataji.
Mayam deho deha bhajami loke. That's the tune.
Okay.
Rishabh.
Mataji, I'll try. I hope. Yeah. Rishabh Uvacha Nayam deho deha bhajanam triloke Kashtan kaman harte Vida puja ye Tapo divyam putraka yena satvam Shuddho tasmat Brahma Saukyam Tva Anantam. Mataji, one more time.
Dishavu vacha nayam deho deha bhajam nilokate kashtan kama arhate jange tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam shuddhyed yasmin sakyam vanantam. Right. So, what does this verse say actually here? Who can tell us what this verse is saying?
Lord Shraddha-devi told his sons, "My dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal bliss life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever." Hare Krishna.
All right. So with these nice words from Vindhyavali Mataji, we will conclude. And we will meet again on Thursday.
You're concluding?
No, we're just beginning. Beginning the thought. Okay. After you do the Shravanam, after you do here, then there has also got to be Smaranam. Smaranam means now you have to remember. Yeah, let it go in your head. So after you finish the class, it's not done. Then you have to meditate on that and see, okay, what were the things that were told in the class? And so on and so forth. And once you do that Smaranam after the class, then, and you see Varshana Mataji takes copious notes and she picks up the notes and she reads them, then it will stay for a longer time. Right? And that's why with her, like that. Okay?
Hare Krishna Mataji, that text was 13.23. 22.
Which one? This one, Mataji?
No, this is 551.
Yeah, this is 551.
Yeah, she's asking about Purusha Prakriti Stoi Bhunpe Prakriti Jarga Karanam Gunasangasya. So
that is also Bhagavatam, is that right?
Bhagavad Gita.
No, that is the Gita.
So that's the Gita.
Yes, Mataji.
So yeah, Vijay Lakshmi Mataji and Neha Mataji and Raksha are also watching us here online, and I'll take leave of them. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vasindobhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Divebhyo Namo Namah.
Hare Krishna. Haribol
Thank you, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you,
Mataji.
Hare
There's
Krishna.
no class tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yes, but there's class in ISV. You can.
Mataji, what was the reason that we were not having classes all these days?
I had some official work to do. And I had,
Pardon?
I had some work to do. Work.
Oh.
Related work. Work-related work. Job-related work.
Okay.
Too many holidays for us.
This is the only class where students complain about missing the class.
I know. Yeah.
Students, we're all good students. We're missing the class.
Absolutely. A good
We're unhappy to miss the class. Not happy to miss the class.
There you go.
No,
Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was talking to Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Mata.
Yeah, I was
Thank
talking
you.
about how things are different in a volunteer organization. It's not a volunteer, but when you're volunteering for Krishna versus when you're working in a corporation. And I could see the contrast, like where I was working at that time. Nobody wanted to hold the baby. It was like, no, it's your job. It's your job. And I was like, come to the temple and they're like, that person took my service.
He took my baby. He's not making me hold.
You're not allowing me to do that. No, I won't let you do this. Is my seva. How can you do the seva? You stole my seva. She stole my seva.
Now, no seva, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
There are so many options.
Vindhyavali, you have so much knowledge of the Shastras. You start, you say, preaching.
Oh, come on. You're saying to me?
Yes. To your friends, sit together and Mataji read Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, yes, we can.
So, the day Shraddha Mataji cannot make it now, Vindhyavali Mataji and Varshana Mataji will take the
Oh,
class.
no.
No, not Varsana. Not Varsana.
Actually,
Not Varsana.
Shraddha Mataji, she will come every day.
Okay, how about this? Days that I cannot come, if there are any days, then on those days you two can at least read through. Sit down and have a reading session at least. Not you two, but everybody can.
I was thinking about that, Mataji. But
yes, Khyati.
The transcendental vibration going, and you can always start a Google Meet. You don't have to broadcast it on Facebook and go that whole 9 yards.
Yes.
Yeah, you can always.
Mataji, we can read this one. Our family business, Mataji.
It's all for you to decide what you want to read, and but read something transcendental.
Yes,
okay?
Transcendental.
All right.
Thank you.
The way to use the phone, is that right?
Yeah. Okay. So then,
I have this Zoom account I can send on the day when Shraddha Mataji cannot come. So
yeah.
So Khyati Mataji, you arrange the thing. You are good at that.
Yes, I will arrange the things, but you both lead the preaching. So
no, not preaching, Mataji.
Varshana Mataji is very good.
Have reflections.
She's a senior devotee than me.
Yeah. Pick up something and have reflections.
Anyway, we'll do.
All righty.
Thank you, Mataji, for everything.
Mataji, thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.